into teaching, and once you get into teaching, that's not the sort of thing you can do. So I went to the teaching, then became a principal, and I used to get, you know, parents would come in and they'd be swearing, they'd be yelling, and they'd be yahooing, and you'd bar up and you'd want to do all sorts of naughty things, but you couldn't, and it was a real struggle, a real, you know, you had to, for me it was, calm down, you're not in the shearing shed now, you're not in the panel beating shop, and you go away and you'd stew and you'd do all sorts of things, because it would be really annoying for me, because I felt it was a personal attack at me. It made me feel they were coming in and attacking me, so I would react. You know, you'd say something, or you'd do things, or you go home and you'd whinge and you'd moan. And then I started with the mentoring program. So I met Hazel, and the mentoring program started, and I got my DP on the mentoring program, and then saw his progress, and I thought, oh, that's for me. I can look at how I'm going to enhance my practice, or I'm going to look at how I can change myself. And I went through the mentoring, and then became a DP and a mentor, and started looking at the modules and how you work with people, how you work as a mentor, and so I thought, okay, I'll start doing this sort of stuff. And I hadn't really thought about what I was doing. Well, I was sort of thinking about what I was doing, but I was thinking about, okay, we ask this question, we do that question, we do all these sorts of things. And then one day I was in a school, and we were sitting there, and there was quite difficult conversations with the staff. They were argumentative, they were putting up barriers, they were doing all sorts of things. They were arguing with the principal, all those things while I was sitting in there. And rather than thinking it's a personal attack against me, I started looking at them and thinking, okay, what is it that they're asking me for? Why are they reacting like this? And so I was coming back from a positive viewpoint, rather than looking at it's an attack against me. And so I handled the staff meeting and everything. And afterwards, the principal came up and said, "Can you stay for a little while and give me a counselling session?" Because she was in that position of feeling really annoyed and frustrated. And so I sat down, and while we were talking, I was listening to what she was saying, and I was listening not to answer back, not to tell her what to do, but I was listening to see what it was that she wanted from me. Did she want me to just listen? Did she want me to give her guidance? Did she want me to challenge her and set her on the right path? So rather than me just coming back with my war story, my whatever, I was listening to see what she was asking me to do. And that was an aha moment for me, and I thought, oh, this is just the mentor. This is the mentoring that's kicked in. I have changed the way that I think when I'm approaching people, and it's not only the way that I'm when I'm talking with staff, but talking with principals, even in your own family, when your kids are doing things, rather than when the kids are annoying you, you go, "Oh, yeah, get out of here." You listen to what they're saying and listen to what they're actually asking you for and the way they're saying it, and the other actions and the things that they do. So that was a real aha moment for me. So now, as I move forward, I approach people differently, and I approach the way that I react to, or I communicate with them and talk back, rather than being reactive. It's more listen and support, or listen and coach, or listen and mentor, or just listen. So that's the big change for me from right back when I started to what I'm doing.
Thank you, Rick. Was that 4 minutes or 5?
About 4.5.
4.5?
4.5.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, that's great. Okay, thank you. I'll ask the first question, and then I'll invite you to ask him some questions as well, please, so that we can, what we do at this stage here is we very quickly mapped out his story, but this works very much like when we make a video. You know, when you look at your tracks, you've got your pictures along the top, then you've got your audio, then you've got your sound, you've got any number of tracks. This is what we're doing with this business here today. We've got, this is your first track, we go to the next track now, where we ask consolidated questions, and we bring in the intelligence and the knowledge of the group into the story. And he's going to learn some stuff as we go by the questions that we ask him. So, Rick, I'd just like to ask you why you had this conversation with Hazel. How did this happen?
The conversation was around when Hazel was looking at starting up the VPLD back 5 or 6 years ago, whenever it was, and it was all part of within the VLN those circles of people, and she was looking at mentoring people online, and I thought, wow, that's a cool thing to do, and I've got a DP that would really gain a lot from doing that, from having someone outside of school coming in to talk to them rather than me talking to them and me getting annoyed with them. Well, let's get someone from outside coming in, and that's I saw that and first met Hazel.
What was the key questioning that worked with the principal in the story you told?
The key questioning was asking, why do you think they are reacting like that? Rather than, I know it annoys me too, what do we get, pushes bugger off. It was, why do they think they were reacting like that? So the principal had to think back to what, and I talked to other people that, we look in the mirror before we look out the window. What can I do to support that person? What is it that I can change so that that person is not going? Because if they're frustrated, that means that they might not have the skills to do these things. If they're getting annoyed with the things, it might be because the resources don't work. All of those things in your change management. That let's start looking at why are they frustrated, why are they annoyed, and looking at what I can do to change that for them, so that they, rather than reacting to them, which is going to get us nowhere.
Questions? What's your next step?
Next step is, I think the next step for me is it's like reading. The more you do it, the better you get. And it's more reading, it's more working with people, more talking to my mentor about it, so that I can think what I'm doing and reflect on it and go back and try something else, and having that mentor talk to me and putting those questions to me and saying, what can you do to make a difference? How would you do it differently?
What kind of questions, I'm interested in, do you ask the people you are mentoring to find out what about it has worked for them? That's kind of how do you know that your mentoring has been working for people other than just...
It's looking at where we started and where we are now, and looking at those milestones, because a lot of times like with myself, I hadn't realised until way down the track. But if I had have looked at milestones along the way, I said, okay, you're doing this now, you're doing this now, you're doing this, you can see the changes. And a lot of times those things just happen, and you don't realise until one day you go, oh, that's what that is. And then that's a really significant moment for me, because I realise what I'm doing, and I realise that that's made a change, a real transformation in how I approach me and how I approach things and how I do things. So that aha moment, and I think it may come earlier if you stop and reflect more often and say, where was I at the beginning, what am I doing now, what has changed?
We have quite a powerful statement in here. It's really good to highlight some of those there, because by your questioning there, thank you, you've got what I was going to try and get from Rick, and that is what actually has happened for you. And he said to you himself, that has been quite a transformation for me. So that's one of the important things in the story. More questions?
What do you think that the principal in the story noticed about you that meant she asked for that support?
Possibly because of the way I approached the teachers that were reacting, rather than what I would have done, which was what she was doing, was just getting really annoyed with them and reacting to it. Rather than that, I was asking them questions around, well, if that's the case, what is it that we can do to support you to get that done? Rather than saying, oh, just get on with it. So she was getting frustrated, and once you start getting frustrated, or once you lose it, you've lost. And I realised that a while ago. So she saw that I wasn't getting frustrated with the questioning, so she wanted to ask me about about what she could, I could support her. And it was quite funny the way she came in, I need some counselling, can you stay for 10 minutes? Yeah. And I stayed for about an hour.
It worked.
Yeah, I think so. It's like, you know, it's not going to happen overnight, but it's she's realising that the teachers are only going that way or getting frustrated or annoyed because of something that they may not have the skills. So you as a leader of the school, you need to say, okay, well if they haven't got the skills, how can I give them the skills? What PD do we need to do? What do I need to do with the infrastructure? What do I need to do with this, with this, with this? Because if you fix those things, you're not fixing the person. The person's just going to be happy because they're going to do their stuff. So it's me doing my job. Working with people, ensuring that they've got what they need to teach. They've got what they need to be able to have the students learn.
Rick, could you explain what you think is the biggest thing that's happened between there and here to make this transformation for you?